So, do you want to know how to get rich? Who doesn't? Our next guest set out on a journey to find the richest self-made millionaires in different towns all across the country, and he's now here to reveal their secrets. Randy Jones, the author of Richest Man in Town, joins me with three of the men from his book. One of them is Tom Golisano, the founder of Paychecks, who's back with us. Also, Jorge Perez, chairman, Related Group of Florida. And Leighton Cubbage is with Ceres Capital Partners. Good morning to all of you, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Randy, let me start with you. You had this fascinating idea a couple years ago.
Yes.
Let me seek out the richest people in particular towns, but they all had to be self-made individuals.
They did, and what I wanted to do was I wanted to paint the most geographic and truly representative portrait of success and wealth in America. I think too often in the media we view wealth through the lenses of Wall Street or Hollywood, and we forget this vast country in between where great success is being created and great wealth is the wonderful byproduct of that success.
The interesting thing is that the cheapest person in this book is worth $100 million.
Yes.
and there are
10 times what most of us need to live well.
No kidding. And there are 4 women also in the book, but it points out that we haven't come totally to the excelling.
We haven't cracked that glass ceiling just yet.
All right, let me go to Jorge Perez, because you are known down in Florida, I guess, as the Donald Trump of Florida. Is that true, Jorge?
Yes, I've been called that. I hope, yeah, I hope I live up to that.
And he prefers
Donald's
George.
A good friend.
Oh, is it George? I'm sorry, I pronounced your name wrong. So at 10, you were forced to flee Cuba. Tell me your story about how you made yourself into a gazillionaire.
Well, actually, I never thought of money. I mean, one of the things the book says is if you search money, you might never find it. You know, I was an urban planner. I finished graduate school trying to be a do-gooder and became involved in subsidized housing for the federal government. And as I did these federal programs, I started making money, and it was the love of housing and providing housing that started it all, not actually searching for the money. And we became the largest affordable housing developers in the country, and then that led to, you know, office buildings and condominiums and commercial real estate.
Right. Let me get Leighton in here, because I'm interested. You're from Greenville, South Carolina. One of the things Randy was telling me in the commercial break, Leighton, was that what he found to be amongst all of you gentlemen is that you don't set goals. How do you explain that?
Well, I think one of the things, first off, it's a privilege to be here and be on this team, and I'm excited about it, but setting goals sometimes sounds like a little basic operation that everybody gets down and does, but really the truth is you just work ceaselessly. I think George said in this book, which is a great book, that he spends many 18-hour days, and that's one of the big secrets right there.
All right. Also, I want to go back to Tom, because we were talking about you and your business in New York, Tom, and moving down to Florida to save yourself in taxes. Obviously, you think that's a smart financial move. That's probably in the book. But also to be your own boss. Was that something that was important to you along the way?
It was very important. Before I started Paychecks, I worked for a payroll processing firm that targeted large businesses, and I just wasn't happy with their level of aggressiveness, their execution, and so forth. And I just thought there were a better way to do things, plus this new market of small employers. So I left this company to start Paychecks. I had $3,000 in this idea and 1 employee, and of course over time it blossomed out. Based on your question about goals, though, I found that very interesting. I never had real goals. I had plateaus. In other words, my first plateau was to make a living. My second plateau was to start expanding. My third plateau was to go public. My fourth plateau was to continue to execute.
Interesting.
I never really thought of it in terms of goals. It was plateaus.
And Randy, I find that so fascinating, because you found that to be a common thread amongst all of these rich people, and yet there have been thousands of books written about setting goals. So where have we gone wrong on this?
Well, I don't know that we've gone wrong. It's just simply that these great success stories, these great wealth creators, are excellent at executing, and they are what I call action addicts. So every day they are trying to do better than the day before. That in itself could be a goal, but in terms of being these sort of strategic planners, they're more plotters than they are planners. In fact, Josh Kopelman, the richest man in Philadelphia, said to me, the minute you push print, on a business plan, it is obsolete. What these gentlemen are so good at doing is reading the market, reading their businesses every day, and doing the things that matter most that day.
Well, it's a fascinating book. Randy Jones, the author of Richest Man in Town. Tom, George, Leighton, thank you for sharing your time with us today.
Thank you, guys.